That's the number one question I'm going to start this whole thing is wrestling fake? The answer is absolutely not.
Just take it away from him. Under 4 left. The barn is alive again. 52-51.
Got me in my hormones. All gas, no brakes, score 4-0. If you think you own this place, you get foreclosed. I've been in my head, but it's not about a T3. I like to learn, but there's nothing you can teach me. We all got opinions. You about to hit Dimitri and Mitch's.
We're on again. It's the sports show. It's Mitch and Dimitri. No Dimitri, but next week. Live, unlive, like I'm doing live, unlive right now, here at CJSW, home of the Dinos of the University of Calgary, where we're able to kind of squat and call it our homes. They don't know it, but we are literally lighting it up over here. Don't tell them. They're basically giving us everything for free. The greatest people in the world. We thank them very much, the CJSW staff, but it's the sports show, the podcast that's broadcast across the world. The numbers don't lie. I want to say a quick thank you to everyone that was downloading over the past week. You know, when Dimitri was on doing the show, the YouTube channel lit up. I'm going to take it a little personally. For some reason, it's not lighting up when I'm on, but the actual audio show, boom, numbers are through the roof. So thank you very much for listening, downloading, and keeping us in your lives. I'm excited. My boy's going to be back next week. Kind of miss him. I kind of miss him for a lot of reasons because, you know, when you do the pod on your own, it's kind of fun. But at the same time, it's like one of those things you're like, you know, I got this idea, I got this juicy thing, and I know Dimitri would feed off it. And then I'll feed off that. And so that's kind of the one thing that was kind of lacking or missing over the last 2 months, basically. I did 4 weeks. Dimitri did basically 4 weeks. So, yeah, can't wait. It's going to be a fun season. We were talking about it a little bit previous to leaving. And now, get ready. September, along with our beautiful partner, Amy, we're going to be pounding out some great things in the next little while. So how do you become part of the roster real quick? Well, you can go to iTunes, you can go to Spotify and Podbean. Listen to it audio. Obviously, I don't have to tell you that because you've been doing it really well over the last couple of weeks. But then let's say you're into the YouTube stuff, which, by the way, I realized I love my YouTube. I have to watch a little YouTube before I go to bed. I know people are like, you should read a book. I love reading too, but, you know, when you're kind of lazy and tired by the end of the day, nothing better than clicking on a couple of things just to kind of get your mind at ease. Me, I'm a movie trailer guy. Don't know why. I just like them. Boom, 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 boom. Watch them all. See them. Am I ever going to go to the movie theater and actually watch them? No, that's the weird thing. I'll wait for it to get on Netflix, or if it's a major movie, like Top Gun, I got to be honest. Maybe it's a little date night thing. Me and the wife got to go see Tom Cruise in Top Gun 2. I've heard nothing but great reviews. So go to YouTube. Type in The Sports Show TV. You'll find us right there. You'll see my face. You'll see Dimitri's wicked hair. And then just click subscribe and be part of the roster, be part of the community. Listen, me and Dimitri have been getting pretty good at this. So why don't you just do us a solid? Make us more popular. Tell all your friends. Be the cool kid at school that says you know the guys that know the guys. And get us on. Make us popular. And I promise we'll get you on the show. It's going to be great. Looking forward to it, guys. We are going to have a fun show. It's the dog days of summer, so I got to be honest with you. The last 3 weeks, the Calgary Flames in the NHL kept me entertained. I mean, you know I'm the drama guy. I loved it. All this controversy. Why didn't he sign in Calgary? Why did he sign with Columbus? Tkachuk now wants out. All that stuff, loved it. And it kept me busy. But now it's literally radio silent. It's dead. I'm here at CJSW right now. It's long weekend here in Canada. And also dead. No one's here. No one's here. But it gives me the opportunity to come, record this in peace and quiet, send it off to you guys, and go from there. So let's start. I wanted to start and talk about Russia. Right now, I'm not going to get controversial. It's none of my business. Well, it is my business as a person of this world, but I don't want to talk about what's going on over there. By the way, the war is still going on, so let's all try to, hey, Putin, hey, Zelensky, why don't you guys just sit down like men and figure this out and stop, all right? That's just my 2 cents on the dollar. But the world keeps going on, as we all know, and Russia's got championships going on with their chess. They love their chess out there. It's a big thing. And there was a prodigy child taking on an AI robot, an actual robot, playing across from this prodigy. And the robot broke the prodigy's finger. Yeah, reached across the table as the kid was making his move and broke its finger. I mean, is anyone else worried about this? This is a little it's a little worrisome that robots are now playing chess and reaching across tables and breaking children's fingers. Now, if it was a grown-ass man, I'd still be a little worried. But they obviously have no soul. Obviously not. They reach across the table and broke the kid's finger. I'm just saying. And by the way, I mean, if this robot is playing chess, hey, Russia, like, what else do you guys got under there? Like, do I have to be the guy that says it out loud? Like, there's a lot of things going on over there. Let's check it. So we were going to talk about that. I'm going to leave that alone. The NFL is back. Training camp has started. Julio Jones, the big name, signs a 1-year contract with Tampa Bay. You got Tom Brady. You've got Chris Godwin. You've got this whole array of teams. Mike Evans, Julio Jones. That's your wide receiver core. Like, it sounds like I'm playing Madden by myself. This is the team I made. We're going to talk about it next week when my counterpart's back, but the NFL is back. We were going to talk about it. I'll leave that alone. I don't want to talk about it. I was going to stick with the NFL because it is the juggernaut. You know how they take our time. We love it. They got it all, right? Like, they are the perfect sport. They've got the look. They've got the swagger. They got the stamina. They got it all. They got it all. They got the great hair. Zach Wilson, New York Jets quarterback, a couple weeks ago, came up. I because of the Johnny Gaudreau stuff, I couldn't bring it up. Zach Wilson's ex-girlfriend, basically, who is now dating Zach Wilson's ex-buddy. And why are they not friends anymore? Well, she turns out that she tweeted to the world that Zach had sex with his buddy's mom. You know this is gold material for me and Dimitri. This is gold on gold. So I'm going to leave it for me and him to talk about in a couple of weeks from now. All right? Or next week or when he's back. Because that's gold material for me and him. I was going to talk about it, but I said no. What I want to kind of start the show off is what happened last week with Matthew Tkachuk. Why? Because I thought about it more. Last week was, just real quick, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but you got the whole Matthew Tkachuk scenario where the guy, sees the doors open, sees an opportunity and says, hey, Johnny just left? He just left the party? I got to go. He's my ride. Well, Johnny left, took his car, and he went to Columbus. Still to this day, I still can't figure it out. But anyways, you got Matthew Tkachuk, basically went to the door, turns around to Brad and the rest of the Flames and said, hey, thanks for the party. Thanks for the Crown Royal. Thanks for the free drinks and the appetizers. They were great. I'm going to roll out. I'm giving you heads up. And I find it hilarious. And, Brad was put in a corner. I gave him some accolades last week. A couple of weeks ago, I didn't like the fact that it was pretty evident he didn't have a plan B. He was so content on Johnny Gaudreau signing with the Calgary Flames that he was ill-prepared. And then they backed him in the corner. Tkachuk comes out of nowhere and says, I want trade too. And then all of a sudden, you put Brad in the corner, and he says, okay, fine. Calls Florida up, says, hey, somebody give me... And apparently there was a St. Louis deal that he didn't like. Tarasenko was one of the names on there. And he turns around and says, Florida, give me the Huberdeau, give me the Uyghurs, give me the kid with the French name, and give me a first-round draft pick. And they said, yeah, sure, boom. And the Florida GM this week came out and said, you know what? I think we won the trade. We got ourselves like one of the best players in the league. Yeah. Kinda. Like, yeah, he's good. He's not that great. And by the way, he was really good this year because he had Lindholm and he had Johnny passing him the puck, doing some outstanding numbers. Like, the three of them were the number one line in the NHL. People could argue it, which we'll talk about in a few seconds. You'll see what I mean. But the reality is Tkachuk was good because he had the good guys around. Now he goes down to Florida. This team last year, the number one team in the NHL, had the most amount of wins. But they lose Huberdeau. They lose the quarterback of the team, in my opinion. I said it on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. The NHL has like kind of a quarterback kind of guy too. The playmaker. Huberdeau was their quarterback. Johnny Gaudreau is the Flames, or now Columbus's, quarterback. So I don't understand. Like, maybe I'm crazy. Now, don't get me wrong. Barkov's a great player, and he's a semi, quarterback. Let's call him a hybrid. He can pass, he can score, he can do it all. But I find that if that's who you're counting on to set up Tkachuk, because he ain't setting anybody up, then I love the trade even more. But what I really wanted to get into was the video that Matthew Tkachuk sent out to all the Flames fans. So he sends out his own tribute video. You can't self-gloss yourself. You can't self-gloss yourself and send a video to us and say, hey, thanks for having me. Thank you so much. Wow, wasn't I great? Look at the video. What the hell is going on here? What the hell is going on? Now, listen here, Matthew, all right? Listen here. When you were here, I said it last week, you weren't the greatest friend to the Flames. We stuck up for you way too much. The Cassian scenario up in Edmonton, when he ragdolled you, You know how much heat I took on that? I work with guys from Edmonton. They were laughing and crying. Ah, ha, ha. He turtled this. You know what? They were right. But I had to stick up for you. As a Flame fan, I stuck up for you, man. And then what do? When the going gets tough and Johnny leaves the house, you're like, oh, lock it up. I got to go too. Listen to me very carefully, man. And now you're talking big game. You're going to go down and take on the two-time Stanley Cup champions like you guys have a chance? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Like, buddy, at the end of the day, I like you. You're a good player. You're getting your money. All of the above. But you can't be sending out your own videos. It just doesn't go that way. It's too funny to me when I saw that he sent out his own video. So, what do I think of the whole scenario? I think the Flames are there was 2 steps back for sure, and they took 1.5, if not 2 steps forward again. And we'll see. The free agency market's still open. Kadri's still there. You never know. A lot of people are saying he might come, and maybe Brad now does have something up his sleeve. Maybe he dusted off the old playbook and says, okay, what do I got to do here? Bottom line, hilarious. I love it. But good riddance to you, Matthew. Good riddance. Time to go. Because like I said, some people, you got to get rid of those guys that are a little toxic in your life. And you started a lot of fights and a lot of problems here in Calgary with regards on the ice. I mean, as a citizen of Calgary, I think you were a great person. I think you're good for the community. But let's call it what it is. When you had a couple of drinkies, okay, or when you're on the ice, it's like that friend that had a couple too many. You started a lot of fights that we were not sure if we wanted to be a part of. But either way, we move on. I'm excited about that. Now, I said it earlier. Johnny and the boys gave me something to talk about for the last 3 weeks. Now I got nothing. So I said to myself, what do I got to do? Dimitri comes next week. I have nothing to talk about because nothing is literally going on, like nothing. But then I thought to myself, wait a minute. We're going to do something for the first ever sports show great debate. I got this idea from another podcast, good friends of mine over at the Full Spectrum, the Maverick and the Big Data. And we're going to do the great debate. And what is that? Sports always has and always will have controversial issues that we're going to talk about. And I'm going to go through them right now, and I'm going to give you the true answer to everything. I was so dead right about Johnny Gaudreau. You can't deny the fact that I know my stuff. Now, I'm not a stats guy. Me and Dimitri have said that for years. We're not stats guys, but we use this. We're too smart. The problem is you guys are all looking at, well, he had 50 goals and his analytics, and he's a left-handed shot. All that stuff I'm sure plays some sort of role. But when it really comes down to it, sports is all about what's here. The heart, the brain, who's working it faster, who's smarter, who's more. Physicalities are obviously a huge thing, of course. But when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, we've been proven over and over again, just be smart, play the rate. So what we're going to do, it's the first ever. Here we go. It's the great debate. I'd like to maybe do this every summer. I think it'll be fun where Dimitri hopefully will be here and me and him can do it together. It's kind of like a long form of rapid banter, but it's not rapid banter because rapid banter's after. All right, let's go into it. Questions that sports fans and people all around the world just want the answers to. I'm here to answer them for you. First one. This one goes out to my boy, South Carolina George. Everybody, super fan Ryan. I can't believe I forgot to mention you a few times because you are a super fan. Is wrestling fake? That's the number one question I'm going to start this whole thing is wrestling fake? The answer is absolutely not. Okay, on one end it kind of is. They know who's going to win. Fine, okay? But when you're taking a chair to the back of your head or the back of your torso or into the ribs or somebody's throwing you off a Hell in the Cell cage from 20 feet above onto a table, I do not care if you think wrestling is predetermined, fake that way, fine. But everything these guys do, every single thing they do is real. It is. Even getting, look, when they're in the ring and they're punching each other, no, they're not full out punching each other. I get it. I'm not an idiot. They're not full out kicking each other. But when you're getting body slammed, you're getting body slammed. When somebody's jumping off the ropes onto your torso, they're doing it. But they're doing it in a safe manner. These are trained professionals. Let's call it what it is. We don't give them enough accolades for what they do. They train hard. You can see that in their physiques. And on top of it, they master their craft. So for me, when people say wrestling is fake, yeah, but so is the circus. I don't see anybody walking around putting their heads inside lion's mouth in the safari. You're not going to do that. It's a trained thing. It's an isolated thing. These guys train. They work together. They figure it out. And the most important thing, And this is where Vince Kennedy McMahon and maybe, I don't know who dubbed it, but it's sports entertainment. It's entertainment. It's fun. Now, I'll bet anybody, and I'm telling you anybody, if John Cena's walking down the street and you said something to him like, hey, John, wrestling's fake, or you told Roman Reigns wrestling's fake, I dare you. I triple dare you to say it to their face and let them do what they can do to you, because they will pick you up like a rag doll or like any other doll and throw you around like a helicopter. They will do it because they can. So when people say wrestling's fake, it is from one point of view. They know who's going to win the match. But everything else is pretty real. Like the fact that they can grab a microphone on the rip and just go, that's pretty cool. The fact that they can run into an arena filled with hundreds of thousands of people. By the way, let's go real quick into that. Every episode of WWE or AEW that I've been watching, and it's not like I sit there religiously each week and watch it, but they're all filled stadiums, man. And these guys got to go in and perform, and the ladies too, everybody. It's unbelievable. So is wrestling fake? The answer is no. They just kind of know who's going to win, but no, it's not fake. It's not fake at all. Number 2, should athletes be role models? Oh, this one's tough. This one, I was thinking about it when I wrote it down yesterday. I was like, because Charles Barkley and I think Jordan, they both kind of had the same thing. They're like, look, man, we're athletes. We get paid to play a sport. I shouldn't be raising your son or daughter. I kind of go with it. I kind of agree with it. They are hired to be a sport, but they do have a responsibility to be a good person. You know, when I do think of people like Terrell Owens, you know, that bum, when I saw him at Beverly Hills and he wouldn't even sign the autograph, I get it. Maybe he was attacked previous to me walking in there 50 times. But guess what? You want to get paid. That money you're getting paid with is fans all accumulating that money, going to a game, giving it to the owner, and he's dispersing it, and you're part of that equation. Now, I respect the fact that they get bombarded constantly with questions and answers and this and that. But the truth of the matter is that, no, you don't have to be a role model. You don't have to be a role model, but you got to be a good person. What does that mean? You know what? When somebody talks to you, give them a little attention. You don't have to sign everything. You don't. Honestly, I'm not going to ever forgive you, Terrell. Don't get me wrong. But you don't have to sign everything. I get it. But you got to be a good person. You got to be a good thing. Because these kids, if you like it or not, they're still going to watch you. So you got to have a little form of respect. Okay? A little form of respect. I'm not going to go into that. Like, I could easily go into a COVID analogy and say shot, no shot. But I'm not going to do that. You know why? Because I just feel like everyone's just got to respect each other. That's it. Meaning, you don't want to be a good person. You want to be a crappy guy and you want to like start fights and that. Guess what? You're not going to be a sports athlete very long. Because what I figured out is that owners and coaches and other teammates, they don't like those kind of players on their team. So when I say that, at the end of the day, they don't have to be, but they got to be decent people either way. Which major league, should they have another lockout, will lose their fans forever? This one's also tough because this one, I'm going to put it between two. The NFL will never lose anything. It's so big. It's so strong. The NFL for sure is not one of those. It's definitely down to baseball and hockey. Hockey this year, I think, took a major stride, especially in the United States. The ratings were through the roof. They've got the momentum. The NHL has always said, we got to break it open in the States. And I think they're finally cracking that nut. There is definitely a crack in that nut, and now it's time to rip it open. However, if anything happens in the next few years with lockouts or anything like that, the NHL will falter heavy. With that being said, baseball, you're right there. In fact, I think baseball's kind of on the decline. Every week, I'm watching the sports highlights, especially this week where I was trying to find some stories to talk about. I did not see any fans watching baseball. Like, don't get me wrong, there was fans there, but not like they are, obviously, when the playoffs come. So I keep wondering myself how and why. And then I did a little investigative work, and I think I said it on the podcast a little while ago. Baseball's average age right now is in the 50s. Did you hear what I said? In the 50s. We are talking the baby boomers are the only ones really watching day to day. And then when the playoffs come, yeah, it's the cool place to be. So all the kids are going and all the millennials and all those people are going to the game. But ladies and gentlemen, if baseball has any sort of interruption in their sport ever again, they're done for sure. And hockey, as great as you're doing, you're always going to be the little brother. You're always going to be that little brother that, like, you cannot do anything wrong right now. You're on a heater. Keep going. Don't stop. So those are the two. Baseball, watch out. You're on notice. Hockey, keep it going. Keep it going, hockey. What else we have? Which of the two sports is harder to do, NASCAR or golf? This one's hard. This one's tough. So you got golf where there's, again, 50, 60, 70, 80-year-old people that can play it. And then you got NASCAR. I would probably say, just based on that alone, that NASCAR's harder. Now, golf is hard to master for sure. Do I think it's hard to drive around, in a circle going left the whole time? No, but I mean, these cars are built to go fast. They're not built to go at 20 or 30. They're not built for that. So if you're going to use the NASCAR truly to its potential and play a game of golf, I think NASCAR's harder. I think it's harder. I mean, it has to be, right? Like, driving here, I've noticed there's people can't even drive. So I'm going to say NASCAR's harder. When I wrote this question down yesterday, I thought to myself, I think I'm going to go golf on it. But no, the more I think about it, golf, you can just play. I mean, and no one's ever good at it. I mean, you got Dustin Johnson one week breaking records, and the next week he's not anywhere near what he did the week before. NASCAR, you can't do that. NASCAR, you get into a crash, it can be pretty bad, obviously fatal. So I don't want to joke about it too much. But yeah, NASCAR, it's harder. Of course it's harder. All right. Should soccer have video replay? No. We've talked about this once before, and I'll say it again. There are some sports that you should not, in any capacity, change. You leave them alone. When I see the referee doing this, first off, that's the stupidest symbol for let's go to the replay. Sports, can I just say this out loud? Sports is fun because there are mistakes. If everybody was perfect at every single sport that they play, if you got two Nadals playing each other, or two Djokovic playing, that game will go on forever. If you've got two Tiger Woods playing each other, they're gonna play forever because it'll never end. You need human error. It is what it is. And when a referee makes an error, and yeah, it's gonna benefit one team or another, unfortunately, then too bad. That's what sports is all about. Because that's what gives me and Dimitri something to talk about when we're like, that referee really screwed it up. That ref doesn't want to screw it up. He doesn't, or she doesn't. But it happens. You make mistakes at work. I make mistakes at work. But that's what makes it work. That's what it's all about. And the fun part, not always fun, but it is kind of fun, is figuring out a way around it. Doesn't that win taste a little bit better when, you feel like you got hosed, but you turned it around? And then let's say you do end up losing because of that call. You can use that as your excuse. You take that out by using video replay. Guess what? You're not making the game fun anymore. You know what you're doing? You're trying to make it perfect, and it's impossible. It's impossible. So soccer, get lost. Same thing with baseball. Next year, and in fact, they're doing it right now, there's going to be robotic umpires. No. Absolutely not. Why? Exactly what I just said with everything else. Baseball doesn't have the most exciting things. It's a very tactical game. Throw the ball, try to hit it, do your thing, blah, blah. That's a strike. That's a strike. But I'm going to miss the umpires ripping back the cord and saying you're out. Or at the home plate and he looks down and, you're out of here. All that. Robot's not going to do it. You know what the robot's going to do? He's going to take you, he's going to throw the ball at the pitcher, or he's going to grab the back catcher's helmet and rip it off his head. I mean, the robot in chess broke the kid's finger. What's a robot in baseball going to do? If a manager comes over to argue a call, it's not going to be very exciting. You got a robot and a manager, and the robot ends up killing the manager. That's not fun. It's murder. We can't have this. It's murder. We can't do it. No. So I don't like AI. Like here and there, fine. Even in hockey, I'll be honest, like I'm not the biggest fan of it. Like where the puck is literally 1 millimeter over the line, so it's a goal. And then it takes 5 minutes to celebrate that goal. Like, let's go. What does Toronto say? Is that a goal? Is it a goal? Is that in? Get the ruler. Let's set. Is that? Yeah, it's in. Okay. All right. Yeah, it's been decided. It's a goal. And then people have gone to the bathroom. People have left the arena. No, man. Video replay is actually as good as it is. It's also, in my humble opinion, very detrimental to all sports. All right, the big one, I'm having some fun with these questions, but let's get into a couple of them. Barry Bonds and Pete Rose, should they be in the Hall of Fame? Dimitri and I have talked about this in length, and I won't make it too long. Barry Bonds 100% should be in the Hall of Fame. Before Barry Bonds got really addicted to steroids, allegedly, he was still an amazing player. He was a Gold Glove winner. He was a batting champion, all those things. Then he got a little bulky. He got big, yeah, and he started crushing the ball. Instead of like stealing a base or two, which he used to do back in the day, he would, he would just crack it out of the stadium and walk around the bases. He was so detrimental. He was so big and strong and scared, or people were scared to throw to him. One year he had more walks, one person, than an entire team. Like he had, I think it was 376 walks one year, and the Marlins as a team had 373. Did steroids alone do that? No. Barry Bonds is a very talented player, and he needs to be recognized for that. The steroids were used by everyone. And this is why I'm not the only one that thinks. There's other sports people that think this. It just doesn't make any sense why you guys are picking on this guy. No, he wasn't the greatest with the media. No, he wasn't the most fun. But at the end of the day, the guy still had to swing accurately, hit the ball, and it goes. And so did Mark McGwire. And so did Sammy Sosa. And other people. And I promise you they were on some sort of PED. The Pete Rose one, look, I love my sports gambling. I do. But here's the truth. Pete, you can't go to the Hall of Fame. You can't go. And here's why, buddy. And it's not because, and it's been proven, and he's gone on the record and saying it, that he only bet on his team to win. So, yeah, man, I get it. But here's the thing. I'm going to use you and a priest as the same thing. You can't be doing stuff like what we as the general public can do. So if I can bet on the Reds to win, and you're playing in that game, and you're betting on the Reds to win, and you're a Red, I get it. We're on the same page, but you're in that game. You're actually you're somebody I'm looking into to watch this game, to play it. And like, you shouldn't be concentrating on if you're going to hit your parlay or not. Same thing with a priest. A priest can't be thinking the same way that I think. Then what's the use of having a priest? Trust me, it'd be a kind of a cool church. It'd be kind of neat. I'm not going to lie to you, but there's rules for that. So I put Pete Rose and priests in the same thing. I'm sorry, Pete. I'm sorry. It is what it is. You knew, let's call it what it is. You knew what you were doing was wrong. You knew. You shouldn't have been doing it. I do give you, like, it's literally 51-49, man. But unfortunately, you're not going to go to the Hall of Fame. It sucks, but it is what it is. A lot of people also want to talk a little bit about a couple more. Live golf in the PGA. Is it a big deal? Yeah, it's a big deal for the PGA. It's a big deal that the PGA now has competition, kind of like the WWE now has competition with AEW. When WCW came around, it really did take over. It took over for a while. They were beating them in the ratings for a couple of weeks, and WWE had to reconfigure. They end up obviously winning. WCW folds, blah, blah, blah. They move on. PGA, I give you the same advice. You guys are a monopoly in your industry. Absolutely. It's a great sport. You guys do pay your players accurately. You have all the major awards that these golfers are striving to get. However, a new player in town has come in live golf, and they're using money to bring the players over. Now, here's the thing. I use it like any one of us. If we're in an industry and some other company in the same industry says, hey, I want you to come over, are you not going to seriously think about it, just like all these golfers? So if you're a Dustin Johnson, I'll use him again as an example, or even a Tiger Woods, even though Tiger doesn't want to go. But when you've won all the majors and you've won it all, and now you're going to another league, or the other league is offering way more money on the same event, basically, or an equivalent of the same event, why wouldn't you look into it? When you guys are turning around now telling golf, when the PGA is turning around going, if you go over there and you play, don't think you're coming back. That's fair. I think that's fair. But you can't be mad that somebody else wants to play in the sandbox. You can't be mad about it, PGA. You've had your fun. You've been playing with that tractor all this time. Some kid in the sandbox wants to come and play with that tractor now. You got to let him play. It's sharesies. And you got to remember, you need these players, Dustin Johnson, the Tiger Woods, and Sergio Garcias, and the Phil Mickelsons, just as much as they need you. If they all go over to live golf, what's going to happen is live golf is gonna I like my golf. I like watching it, in fact, believe it or not. I don't go and play it as much as I should, but I'm going to go where I know the names. If you're telling me there's all these new guys and they're up-and-comers in the PGA, I don't know who they are. And you know how I get to know that they're up-and-coming? Because they're playing the old guard, and then when they're kind of battling them, I'm like, holy cow, look at this Cam Smith last week. He took on Rory McIlroy. Well, if Cam Smith was in that tournament last week and there was no Rorys and there was no Dustins and there was no nothing, guess what? I don't know who Cam Smith is. And P.S., I don't care. You need each other. You need each other. Play it open. Open it up. Open up, as they call it in wrestling, the forbidden door. Do it. Do it. It's going to be great. I'm telling you, it can work in this industry. It can work in this industry. We could talk a little bit about Tom Brady. Is he the GOAT of GOATs? Yeah, he is. But here's the thing. I wanted to say Gretzky here. Is Gretzky the GOAT of GOATs? Gretzky has every record. He's got his Stanley Cups. He's got his Hearts. He's got his all the major accolades. So does Tom. But here's the major difference and why I'm giving it to Tom over Gretzky. For one reason and one reason only. It's because Tom's still playing. Even though he's retired, unretired, he's 44 years old, 43 years old, a little younger than myself, I think. And he's playing in the National Football League. He's playing what people would say is the hardest position, and he still does it at an elite level. Even though I'm a huge Packer fan and I love my Aaron Rodgers some days, I truly think Tom Brady should have won MVP last year. Like, Rodgers had some outstanding numbers statistically, but you're talking about Tom Brady. You're talking about the A.J. Brown, or not A.J. Brown, the Brown fiasco, where the guy, he leaves during the middle of the game. Like, his team was up and down, and he still got him into the playoffs. He was one play away from going to the Super Bowl again. Tom Brady is the GOAT of GOATs, ladies and gentlemen. He just is. I mean, Michael's right there too. But when we're talking about a guy that's still going in at 40, and let's call it what it is, he can probably go again. You got to say, you got to be reasonably fair and say that the guy is the GOAT of GOATs. I got two more quick little ones. Could Austin Matthews pull off what Johnny Gaudreau did to Toronto this year for next year? The answer is yes. Toronto fan, you're on high alert. Austin Matthews' contract comes up next year. If I'm you, you guys start negotiating from now, and you make sure that he tells you he's gonna stay or not stay, because he just won his award. He just won the Hart this year. He won Best NHL Hockey Player. He is, right now, I guess, from an NHL point of view, you can say he's the best player on the ice. Okay? Controversial, but whatever. I mean, it is what it is. The award said it. I didn't say it. They gave it to him, right? You have to get that answer from him. Because if you're going to trade him, then trade him. I know a lot of people, and here we go. We're going to get into it. But here's my thing. Could he easily walk? Yeah. He's from Phoenix. He was born and raised in the Western United States, the United States of America. He's from Arizona. Could he go to the Coyotes? Sure. Now, does he want to play in front of 5,000 people? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I mean, the guy's home. San Jose, LA, Anaheim. He has so many choices to go west if he wants to be quote-unquote home. You guys will be very naive, just like we were, thinking, oh, he's going to stay in Toronto. It's the Mecca of hockey. Yeah, guess what? That Mecca of hockey that you guys so love to dub and say is sometimes the reason people want to leave. It's too much pressure. If Johnny was stressed out here in Calgary, I can't imagine what Austin Matthews is going through. I mean, his hair is kind of telling me what's going on. He's pretty stressed out. If he thinks that hair is good enough to show up at an award ceremony, he's losing his mind in Toronto because you guys are stressing him out. So mark my words, Toronto, be careful. Could Austin Matthews roll out? The answer is absolutely yes. From there, I go to here. For the last 3 weeks, I've left you on the cliffhanger. And I'm going to get my notes up here for 1 second. I got to get ready here because I got a little something. All right. For the last 3 weeks, I have been telling you guys that I want to talk about the McDavid and the Draisaitl and the being traded from Edmonton and all that stuff. And I've held off. I waited free agency. I saw they re-signed Evander Kane. They got the Jack Campbell. They did it all. This team right now, I guess, once again, is going to be one of the top teams in the Pacific / the West to go to the Stanley Cup. And a lot of people now, for sure, after free agency are going to say, Mitch, you're crazy. This team is like right there. They're right there. They're going to win it. Look at how they dismantled Calgary. Look at how well they played LA. They're right there. They got the coach now. They got the goalie. We got no excuses. You're right. That's why I held off 3 weeks. I had to look at it from a very fair and judgmental and objective personality that I am. I said, yeah, Edmonton is right there on paper. But here's the thing. The last couple of years, I've been watching the Stanley Cup, and I've watched NBA, and I've watched NFL. And you know what I realized? That the most talented team and the best team on paper is not the best team. That's why, like, going forward, you'll see me making a lot of different kind of calls with regards to who should be traded, why should be traded. You know what the problem is, Edmonton? You guys are too emotionally involved with McDavid. And I get why. You guys have the best player in the National Hockey League, and you don't want to let him go. You might have the second best player in the National Hockey League in Leon Draisaitl, and you don't want to let him go. But then there's a tail off. Now, granted, you guys now got the Hyman, and you got the Nuge, and you got the Kane, and you got the Nurse, and now Duncan Keith is retired, and he's freed up a little bit of cash, and now you got the Jack Ham. Yeah, it's looking good. It does. But let's look at the last few teams that have gone to the Stanley Cup and won. Look at Colorado this year. Got some good core guys up front, but the rest of that team, nice and solid. The McKinnons, the Lastengogs, and you've got Makar. And then they had the two-headed dragon in the goalies. And then they got Giardi. Good, wholesome, strong team. And the rest of the grinders on that team. Tampa Bay, two-time Stanley Cup champion. You got your Stamkos. You got your Kucherov. You've got your Vasilevsky. You got your Hedman. And then a really strong core of players. Now, Edmonton, you've got your McDavid. You've got your Draisaitl. You've got your Kane. You got your Nuge. We'll see what happens with Campbell. I think he'll be good. But here's where I'm going to tell you guys. If even before the trade deadline, they say by the Canadian Thanksgiving or the American Thanksgiving, if you're not in a playoff format then, if your team's not in the playoffs then the chances it's like 75 or 80% chance you're not going to make the playoffs. Something like that. I would say now, without a reasonable doubt, that you have to make a trade. You trade one of those two guys. And here's why I'm telling you to do it. Because you're so close, if you were to trade one of those two guys, and I know everyone's ripping their hairs out, look at what Calgary got for Tkachuk. 4 for 1. 4 for 1. We got Huberdeau and we got Uyghurs, some kid with a French last name, and a first-round draft pick for Matthew Tkachuk. What do you get for a Draisaitl? What do you get for a McDavid? The guys that have won, like McDavid, 4 Art Ross trophies, 2 Harts, 3 Lindsays, 4-time first team. Leon's won the Art Ross once, the Ted once, the Hart once. He's on the first. Their resume is stacked for you to go as the GM and say, what do I get for this? In fact, I think their resumes are so stacked that you may not get any bites because people they will have to give away the farm, but that's their problem, not yours. Let me give you one last thing. I've been holding on to this nugget for a long time, and I've wanted to say it. In 1992, there was a player named Eric Lindros that came. We all love the Lindros. He's amazing, blah, 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 great. Hadn't played one game in the National Hockey League, turns around and says to the Quebec Nordiques, who wanted to pick him first overall, don't bother. If you do it, I'm not going to play. Well, they did it anyways. And Philadelphia came running. And listen, and maybe you don't remember, but let me rekindle that fire. Eric Lindros goes to Philadelphia. Philadelphia sends who to now the Colorado Avalanche, who used to be the Quebec Nordiques. Let's start with Peter Forsberg. MAGA. Mike Ricci, MAGA. Ron Hextall, MAGA. Steve Duchesne, MAGA. Kerry Huffman, okay, I don't know who that is. Future consideration that turned into Chris Simon, who actually was, played in the NHL, tough guy, he did his thing. 2 first-round draft picks. One of them ended up being Adam Deadmarsh, Stanley Cup champion Adam Deadmarsh, and $15 million of cash in 1992. You tell me that trade doesn't interest you, meaning if that's what Eric Lindros, who didn't play one game in the National Hockey League, got all that, and seeing what Tkachuk got, you mean to tell me you're not interested? You're crazy. Then you're not doing your job. You're crazy then. That's it. That's what I've been waiting to tell you guys. I know people are pulling out their hair and going, I'm going to kill that Mitch. I'm going to kill him. But too bad. That's reality. I don't do stats. That's stats right there. That's reality. That happened. All right, let's get over to rapid banter. Mike Tyson was spotted out using a cane. Still Iron Mike, or is the iron rusted out? Well, no. He's Mike Tyson. I dare. In fact, now he has a foreign object and a weapon. So, no, Mike Tyson. Joey Chestnut broke another record, 44 chicken fingers in 5 minutes. At this point, who can stop him? Yeah, it's called diabetes or cholesterol. One of the two will be okay. Peyton Manning, Archie Manning, Eli Manning, and now five-star recruit Arch Manning is coming. You know, he's going to play for Texas this year. Are the Mannings football's kings? Are they the football kings? The answer is no. It's still Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the king. The Mannings are the princess. And if I was Tom Brady, I'd be like, bend the knee. It's going to take 5 Mannings to try to match up to what one Tom Brady has done. NFL training camp reopened this week, and you got Russell Wilson showing up in a tank. You got Aaron Rodgers dressed up as Nick Cage from the character from Con Air. Not exactly sure what's going on there. And then, you got some other guys all showing up. They're all doing it just to pump up their... So what would I wear if I showed up at the NFL training camp? It's simple. A Tom Brady jersey. I would wear a Tom Brady jersey. If I was an NFL quarterback in the NFL, I would show up wearing a Tom Brady jersey. I would. I think it would be kind of cool. Channing Crowder, ex-Dolphins linebacker, recently told people that him and his wife love to be nudists. They go to nudist colonies. Would you ever try it? The answer is no. No, I would not ever try it. That's just sunblock, honey. That's just sunblock. I can't do it. It's, I'm very hairy too, so it'd be awkward. But mind you, then it feels like I'm wearing something. Well, maybe I would. I take that back. Maybe I would. UFC fighter Jose Benavidez showed the world this week that he has 6 toes on one of his feet. What's cooler, 6 toes, 6 fingers, 1 eye, or 3 boobs? How about this? 2 penises. Sport show. Nick Cannon has literally done it again. He had another baby. This guy now has 8 babies with like 6 or 7 different wives. I can't remember, or women. He's not married to all of them. Who's more right? Is Nick right by populating the country more and adding more babies to the world, or was Thanos right where he's trying to depopulize the people of the world? I'm going to go with Nick Cannon, and I'll tell you why, Thanos. It's more fun putting the babies together than getting rid of everyone. It's more fun. Nick Cannon, the new person of the world. He's the new king of the world, if you're king of the world. Live golf is at it again. Apparently, Charles Barkley said, if you give me $60 million, I'll be your live commentator. They've offered him a contract already. He says, give me 60 and I'll leave TNT and the rest of the boys. What would be more exciting, watching Charles Barkley commentate golf or Shaquille O'Neal do synchronized swimming? I'm not going to lie to you. I think I would like to see Shaquille O'Neal. I think Shaquille O'Neal is damn entertaining. I actually really, really enjoy watching him. I think he's kind of fun. All right, that's it for Rapid Banter. From there, we go to MAGA Malaka. We got 2 of them this week. One of them, I don't know if you heard about it. It's Kyle Murray. Kyle Murray last week signed a $160 million contract. That's the guaranteed portion. 230.5, I believe, was the overall. One of the stipulations in his contract is that he's got to study 4 hours a day uninterrupted. Since then, that happened. The story broke, let's say, on the Monday or the Tuesday, and by Friday, they took it out of the contract because apparently Kyle got very upset, thinking people thought he was lazy, so on and so forth. But brings up the world what sort of negotiations go on in contracts. So contract stipulations is one of the MAGA Malaka, or the other one, sports that seem more dangerous than they are. That's, again, going back to the AI Russian robot breaking the finger of a kid this week. Let's go with contract stipulations. I think that's a good one. MAGA or MAGA. Here we go. Let's start with the Kyle Murray one. 4 hours of reading every night. You know what? It's not a bad thing. I think it's a MAGA. I think it's a good contract. I think that's good. 4 hours, he's got to read the playbook. Look, at the end of the day, Tom Brady is the champion of champions because he loves to do. Now, we're not telling you to read it 20 hours at night or watch video for 20 hours. Just 4 hours. What's a big deal? 4 hours. It's nothing. It's good. Do it. MAGA. Keeping a certain weight. So Eddie Lacy, he used to be a Packer, then he became a Seattle Seahawk, and the Seahawks offered him $385,000 to make sure that he kept 10 pounds off. So as long as he kept that 10 pounds off, he would get an extra $385,000 bonus. Absolutely MAGA. That's the greatest thing ever. You're going to give me $385,000 to not eat a donut. Eddie, buddy, you got to do it. You got to do it. I mean, that's a great stipulation. I would love to have that. How about if you want to become a Yankee? You cannot have a beard or any facial hair. Malaka. Listen, just because I don the beard, that's one thing. But, I mean, some guys got good flow. They got great hair. Got to cut it. So you can't have hair past your ears or something like that, and you can't have any facial hair. Malaka. I think it's cool. I love seeing the guys that end up, who do have the crazy hair and the big beards, that end up going, and then you see them who for what they are, and you know what? They're not MAGAs anymore when they leave their other teams. It's kind of funny. Swedish soccer player Stefan Schwarz signed a soccer contract years ago for £4 million. Part of the stipulation, you can't go to space. Can't go to space. Now, this guy could have been the first Elon Musk. Maybe we didn't know. Maybe he had a rocket ship. So I kind of think that's a Malaka, because you know what? If the guy had the opportunities to go to space, and for $4 million you said he can't go, no, that's not enough money to not go. I say Malaka. Two more. Rick Meyer, so quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks got some good contract negotiators over there, it sounds like. He had in his contract, if the world ends, it's over, I still get paid. I love it. MAGA. Who doesn't want to get paid even when there's no money or anything to be around? I would just be walking around the world with this, going, hey, you see this? Somebody owes me money around here. I know there's no money and we're all trying to survive here, but somebody owes me money. I'll tell you that much. I love it. MAGA. Last one, it's Dez Bryant, Dallas Cowboys wide receiver. When he had his contract with Dallas, and we all know there's some bad boys in Dallas, no strip clubs, no midnight curfew. He had a midnight curfew, and no alcohol. Malaka. Absolutely. Listen, they're in the NFL. I told you earlier, they don't have to be role models. They got to be good people. You want to be, I don't mind the midnight one. Because there's an old saying, nothing good happens after midnight. You know what I mean? Or after 2 o'clock. So get them home, okay. But no strip clubs. Who are you to tell me I can't have somebody sitting on my lap? No alcohol? What are you talking about? What are we going to drink when she's sitting on my lap? Get out of here. That's it. That's MAGA Malaka for this week. This was the sports show. It's me, Mitch, waiting for my buddy Dimitri to get back. Hurry up, Dimitri. I miss you. It's going to be a crazy show next week. Get ready. We have a lot to talk about. Get to Spotify. Get to Podbean. Get to iTunes. Go to YouTube. Type in the Sports Show TV. Click subscribe. That's it. And like Dimitri, my buddy, says each and every week, shove it in the locker, turn on the water, do something.
You can say what you got when it's Tuesday, I'll be locked in.